It's not 6 p.m. yet. We'll call this meeting to order at 5:59 p.m. I want to acknowledge that we're in Treaty 1 territory and the land in which we are meeting is the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. As a council and a municipality, we will continue to work on moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in the spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. I'll ask for an motion for the adoption of the minutes, please.
Resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held at City Hall on May 13th, 2024 be adopted as circulated.
That's moved by Councillor Nichols, seconded by Councillor Meyer. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. We have a couple of delegations this evening. Our first delegation is the Family Resource Center. If you want to come to the mic and state your name for the record, and the floor is yours.
Perfect. Thank you. If we haven't met, my name is Melissa Morrison, and I am the Executive Director of the Family Resource Center. If you want to learn more about us, please reach out. We'll gladly give you a tour and tell you all about us. I also invite you to attend our AGM on September the 17th, where we'll share all the good news stories and stats from this past year. I'm here today to say thank you for being such an involved council and for striving to communicate with citizens. As a former communications and community engagement specialist at the municipal level, I know this is not an easy job. I'm here in the hopes that moving forward, you will consider the Family Resource Center as less of a project you fund through community grants, though we're very thankful for that also, but more as a community partner and someone you want around the table on working groups who can help you achieve many of your strategic plan initiatives. For example, quality of life. We talk about wanting people to come to our city, and I speak as someone who's not from here. But are we truly welcoming? Do we foster belonging and community solidarity? Absolutely, houses are needed, but how will new families connect once they've moved here? The answer is the Family Resource Center. It's what we do. We help people network, find others in the same stage of life. We help them find and access programs and services to support their well-being. We are absolutely going to continue to grow our reach and aid in supporting recreational activities in this city. But quality of life, it's about the connection to others that people want, and it's what makes them put down roots in a community for generations. Community safety and well-being. We're so excited for the community safety and well-being plan, and I'm personally excited to be at that table. But who's going to implement preventative upstream programs? The answer is community partners like us. Through relationship building and supporting families, we can change the paths of many and aid in the prevention of all kinds of issues. We know this work is needed, and we know a lot of areas that could use some focus. This doesn't have to wait for the plan to be complete. Conversations and planning could already be happening to collaborate community efforts, and I think many community organizations would be on board if the city took the lead. Showcasing our community. We have some great spaces at the Family Resource Center, and who doesn't love seeing happy families thriving? We're happy to be part of the next tourism campaign, but we also think that when it comes to recruiting professionals and young families, we should be the first stop on a community tour. Nothing says we care more than caring about someone's whole family and not just the skill that they can provide to our community. I know I don't have time to hit on all your initiatives, but I'm happy to continue the conversation at a later date. Please consider working groups as a way to increase the outcomes of your strategic initiatives and have us be part of them, because we want nothing more than to see all families, no matter what stage of life they are in, thrive in the city of possibilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Appreciate that. Does council have any questions or comments? No. Councillor Meyer?
Thank you, Your Worship, and Ms. Morrison, I just want to thank you so much for taking the opportunity to come. Sometimes sitting around this table, I think we're all aware of the community organizations that we have, but we're not always aware of the things they do and the steps they take. So I'm well aware of your organization and the work that you do, and really appreciate the passion that you bring to it. You are a partner, and I think we want to recognize that. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. I'll comment on that is I think, I'm glad you mentioned the community safety and well-being plan that we're committed to. And I'm glad that you're around that advisory table because that's sort of where we look as our sort of starting block for how things could happen. Because one thing we as a council realize that, and as a municipality, is that we don't always have to be the lead on things. We can be the support on things. And so we the comments go right back to you. Like, I hear you on what you say of, wanting us to take the lead on things, but if you want us involved on different things, feel free to reach out too. We're always happy to partner. Absolutely. So thank you for that. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, we have another delegation. We have Portage Services for Seniors. If you want to come to the mic and state your names for the record.
Hi, I'm Kaylee Hanna.
And I'm Joyce Dahlman.
Hello, Mayor Knox and members of council, staff, and guests. My name is Kaylee Hanna, and I work for Portage Service for Seniors, a nonprofit organization that provides vital services to help older adults remain in their homes for as long as possible. I'm here today with our board chair, Joyce Dahlman.
Our services include assistance with government
Joyce,
and other
could you
forms.
just go to the mic? Sorry, thank you.
Our services include assistance with government and other forms, a transportation program, referrals to bonded services, a friendly visitor program, and one of our most important programs is our meal program, which ensures that seniors in our community have access to healthy, nutritious, and reasonably priced meals.
In January 2023, we were the grateful recipients of a community grant of $4,000 approved by City Council.
Thanks to the City of Portage, along with several other grant funders, we made sure that 74 financially eligible seniors in our community were provided with healthy and nutritious meals once per week for 8 months at no cost to them.
Not only did this help curb the needs for such a basic necessity, but it also improved the health and well-being of our seniors for those 8 months, when they either participated in a congregate meal setting or had a friendly volunteer deliver their meal and say hello. Now let's hear from some of the free meal recipients.
What was your favorite part about the free meal program?
Apart from the meal, the kindness and the generosity and the, always had a smile. Having somebody come to the door and say hi every night.
When I wake up in the morning, I don't have to think about what I'm going to get for supper because I know my meal's coming.
I do like when somebody could stop and have a little visit with me.
I figured that's what was important.
Somebody comes to the door, you get to talk to them for a bit, see how their day's going, and maybe ask how our day's going. So it's nice to interact.
Not having to prepare them myself at night.
Well, I'm just so happy to receive them. Sometimes you don't know what to make for supper, and you know that a planned meal is coming, and it's just exciting to wait.
The meals is a nice change because then I don't have to cook all the time, being by myself. It's a nice change.
With myself, for health, I'm dealing with pain. So it's really enjoyable to get the meal.
Very good, all of them.
Gave me the opportunity to eat some healthy foods and meet some people. I find cooking is going to be a big job for me.
And the people that bring the meals, they're always so gracious. And it's just nice to have a cheery face at the door. But I just appreciate them so, so much.
It made my day.
How did the free meals impact you?
When you're on a fixed income, it really makes a big difference.
It sure helps in your pocketbook. A lot of times, us old folks get forgotten.
Like when you live on your own too, it means more to you than just a meal. You feel like somebody cares when you get the meal.
Nowadays, the prices of Well, this is our high groceries.
Helps me out because I don't have that much money.
And it helps our grocery bill a little bit too. It helps me a whole lot. My income is quite low, so I appreciate it very much.
It is so nice to know that there is people that do care for other people. They've just been so good for me. A big blessing. When you're 92 years old, you've cooked meals for a long time, so it's nice to have a treat.
Go down and join my fellow mates. Be with everybody. Because it's not everybody that, can afford to go, eh?
More programs like this would let people know that there's a need for a lot of programs. If people don't actually see it, they don't really understand or why it's there in the first place. We look forward to something. Some people don't even have that.
I hope they get them next year again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Yes.
Thanks a lot.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
I thank you very much.
Thank you, then.
Oh, many, many thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank them very much.
Thank you so very, very much.
I would like to thank them very, very much.
Thank you. Really appreciated the free meals. Yes, it sure helped me out.
Oh, I appreciate everything that's done for me. I appreciate that. Getting meals. You love it.
Because what they're doing is a really, really good thing. Not just for myself, but for other people.
It was always nice to have something different for a change.
And everybody's involved with that.
Yeah. So thank you for everybody.
I appreciate it.
Really enjoy it. Benefit to everybody, right?
We appreciate it very, 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 very much.
Appreciate them having the ability to do this for us. It makes that day a little bit better.
Bless your heart. I am thankful.
Thank you. Are you done presenting? Perfect. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Kaylee or Joyce? Counselor Porter? Oh, microphone.
Sorry about that. I'd just like to mention that I kind of have firsthand at some of the people that you serve your meals to, and I also want to thank you. It's you guys have a great organization, and I know they appreciate it. But I also know that all the other services that you provide, which is important, and that is visitation, and because some of these people are very lonely people, and so when you bring their lunch, it's not just about lunch. It's also about socializing. And I know they appreciate it. And I have also referred many of seniors to your organization. They all just commented what a wonderful, great thing you guys do for the community. So thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Meyer?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Ms. Dahlman and Ms. Hanna. Once again, I'm well aware of your organization as well. And if my data holds correct, and I'm not sure exactly when you start the age at senior citizen, we won't go down that path, but that 28% of our city population is considered senior citizens, was the data that I received. I mean, we may not be the so-called retirement community, but I think it's a great place to retire. And I think it's an organization like yours that really helps to put that kind of in perspective. And I trust that when I get to that age, maybe I'm there now, but when I do officially get to that age, that if I do need the services, that they'll be around to do that. And I think it's safe to say that this council certainly supports not only your organization, but the senior citizen population in Portage la Prairie, which is an important part of our community. So thank you.
Thank you. That was a great video. Thank you. I recognize a lot of those people and faces there, so thank you for sharing that with us. It's important for us to see where dollars go that we make decisions on, and keep up the great work. You do great things for seniors in our community, and we hope you continue for years to come. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have no public hearings this evening. I'll move into Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee. Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Worship. Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee has no report this evening.
Thank you. City Planning and Economic Development Committee, Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. Council, in front of you, you will see a proposal to subdivide a section of land on the island. I did bring it to committee last council meeting for your information and obviously to look through. You will see a site map and a application map for your information for the subdivision request. So because I brought it to committee, I won't review it exactly in the same detail I did, but in summary, the applicant proposes to subdivide the plot number CT 3025747 into 5 residential lots. So currently the present holdings is a total of about 10.5 acres, and that each lot would actually be at least 2 acres, and the rationale for that is in order to be able to have a septic field and some piped water. New driveways will be required for 4 of the lots, where access would be gained from municipal roads, and Lot 5 already does have an existing driveway right off of Brandon Avenue, and I'm sure you've been down there before. When it gets into the development plan, the proposed subdivision does comply with the development policy. I won't get into those details as we know what they already are, and also in regards to the zoning bylaw. So the proposed subdivision is located within an area that is currently zoned RLL, which stands for residential large lot, but would be actually need to be rezoned to rural residential zone. And of course, that's within our zoning bylaw. Some of the comments are that there's a number of easements that would be required, whether it be from Bell MTS, Manitoba Hydro, the Portage la Prairie Planning District, Terranet, which means land titles, and then of course the Manitoba Transportation and Infrastructure Water Management. All other departments, agencies had no comments or no concerns, and there have been no complaints. Community and Regional Planning recommends approval of the subdivision subject to the following conditions, which I'll also state in the motion. So with that said, it's the administrative recommendation, and I so move that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie approve the subdivision being part of Blocks 4-6, Plan 523, PLTO, and part of Plan 1319, PLTO, and River Lot 72 in the parish of Portage la Prairie, subject to rezoning of the proposed lots from RLL, or Residential Large Lot Zone, to RR, Rural Residential Zone. That, of course, has to be approved. A variation order being obtained for proposed Lot 2 to reduce the minimum size width requirement from the 100 feet to 20 feet in order to fit into the RR zone. And that, as a caveat, that the flood risk should be made known to any potential purchaser of the proposed lots to eliminate any future problems. And I so move here.
Moved by Councillor Meyer, seconded by Councillor Nichols. Is there any questions or comments from council? No? All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you.
And that's the end of my report. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Meyer. Community Services Committee, Councillor Espy.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Community Services Committee has nothing to report.
Thank you. Waterworks Committee, Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Your Worship. Waterworks Committee has nothing to report at this portion of the meeting.
Thank you. Transportation Committee, Councillor Porter.
Thank you, Your Worship. Transportation has nothing to report till further down in committee.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. Public Safety Committee has nothing to report.
Thank you. We have no items of deferred business. We'll move right into new business. We have our April building reports. City Planning and Economic Development Committee, Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Worship. And it goes without saying, after 6 years, this still is my favorite part of being in this chair. I was actually hoping maybe for some music to introduce it, if that's possible. Thank you. Now that we have that, I do want to draw council's attention to the building reports for April of 2024, as we talked many times, between the efforts of not only our investment group, of course, the strong work by the City Planning District, and of course, our PRED organization as well. I feel that a lot of this is the end result of that. We always talk about shovel in the ground. So in summary, even though you show the city and the RM, we are a regional organization that we refer to, and I always refer to the combined totals there. So when you look at it, it's actually kind of interesting, and certainly not to belabor it, but the permits for single housing have been up significantly over last year at this time. Even the dollar values, when you're looking at 2.3 million to 125,000 at the same time last year. So that shows you the economic activity that's taking place. Specifically repair, which really gets me excited because it shows that people are investing dollars back into the residential homes or making additions or adding on to things, which of course kind of embeds them a little bit more in the community when they're doing that. So 26 permits to 11, 5.6 million to 709 last year. Commercial, right now to see the increase in the commercial development for new building permits goes from 11 million to 3 million. Even though the number of permits are the same, it just shows you the size and the expansion. Repair, somewhat similar, but look at the dollar value difference between this year and last year. It's almost like 8 times the amount. So it shows you the dollar value that's actually going back into the commercial as well. And then I'd be remiss not to talk about the 247 million, although that wasn't last year. That's this year. Primarily, that's the new hospital. And we're certainly proud to see that going forward as well. And I know the planning district has had a ton of work to do with that. So hats off to the planning district for that. Won't get too much into farm buildings, although you can see certainly the increase in that as well, which tells you that our agriculture community is certainly investing back into their areas as well. And then the last part was what we've always talked about, the cottage industry, which is the RTMs. When you go from 750,000 to 1.7 million, it just really shows you the expansion in that. So that's maybe a little more information than you were looking for, but as I mention always, I'm certainly happy to say those results. So if there's no questions, that's the end of my report.
Great. Does anybody have any questions for Councillor Meyer? No? Thank you. Okay, another item of new business, tender award for the supply of treatment chemicals for the water treatment plant, Waterworks Committee, Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Your Worship. Council, in front of you, we have a report for you and what it is for the tender award of the supply of water treatment chemicals. To award the 12-month contract for the supply of various chemicals for the water treatment plant as specified in tender number 24 OPS 019. So we have here is a list of 10 chemicals, and I'll do my best to read them out. I'm not going to go into a whole pile of detail about them, but the chemicals are listed are lime, potassium permanganate, chlorine fluoride, polyaluminum chloride high, polyaluminum chloride low, phosphoric acid, sodium hydroxide, and dry anionic polymer, calcium thiosulfate. So the analysis is the tender was posted on Merck's website and electronically posted on the city's website. 11 copies of the tender were sent out and 7 submissions were received. The tender closed at 2 p.m. on Tuesday, May 14th of 2024. The contract is to supply the water treatment plant chemicals for a 12-month period from June 1st, 2024 to May 31st, 2025, and should be issued for each individual chemical. Bidders are required to guarantee submitted prices until May 31st, 2025, thus the 12 months. The total combined costs for all the 2024 tendered chemicals is $2,136,431.70. The budgeted amount was $2,646,645.10. Some chemicals saw a reduction in quoted price per kilogram or ton for 2024. So it's the administrative recommendation, and I so move that the city of Portage la Prairie award contractors for the supply of treatment chemicals for the water treatment plant for a 12-month period as specified in tender 24 OPS 019 to the following companies, and there's a table below that lists all 10 for the respective chemical product for their submitted tender price excluding GST, and the table is there for the 10 for your review and perusal, and if you have any questions, and I so move.
Moved by Councillor Nichols, seconded by Councillor Porter. Does any council have any questions or comments? Councillor Massey?
Thank you, Your Worship, and thanks to Chairman Nichols for the report. Just a question. We talked about when we increased the water rates slightly, one of the reasons was the cost of chemicals. I notice here they seem to be coming now under, some of them are coming in under. Is there some explanation? Is it what's going on with the sort of the whole chemical industry? Or is this just, we're just getting better prices on some chemicals like now than before? Or just maybe a little bit of explanation why they're coming in lower than budget?
Maybe Mr. Pito?
Through Your Worship to Councillor Massey, I'll ask Ms. Friesner, Director of the Utility, to answer that question.
I think there's a variety of factors playing into this. We are seeing the volatility that we noted the last few years in chemicals more stabilizing, as well as the transportation costs. The companies have a better idea of being able to predict that year out. We don't have the same companies asking for shorter times, so they are assuming more of that risk and bidding against or offering more competitive pricing, I feel. They are willing to enter into the bidding market again. The other part is we have a better handle on the volumes that we're going to need over the next year. We had seen some significant increases with our industrial partners, and we were maybe being overly cautious or conservative in what we thought we were going to need, and we're getting a better handle on what we actually are going through these days. So it's good. That's good news. I can remember the shock and awe of 2022 when this report came, and yeah, so it's nice to hear some stabilization for sure. Okay, any other questions or comments? All those in favor? And that is carried.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Okay, another item of new business. We have the tender award for the 2024 pavement program, Transportation Committee, Councillor Porter.
Oh, sorry about that. Little glitch with my computer. Sorry about that. Okay, this is a report to council. It's the award of tender for the 2024 pavement program. The issue is to award the tender for the 2024 pavement program. Alternatives are to award the tender to Maple Leaf Construction Limited or do not award the tender. Background analysis on it is that the tender for the 2024 pavement contract was advertised in Merck's Construction Association of Rural Manitoba, Winnipeg Construction Association, and the city website. Tenders were distributed digitally to 9 contractors, and the tender closed on May 16, 2024. After only receiving 1 bid last year, we are pleased to have received the following 2 competitive bids. Maple Leaf Construction Limited for the bid price of $697,420.50. They earned the points of 97.81. And then there was Messington Construction Limited for the bid price of $704,545.59 with the points of 97.53. And that is GST included. This tender has followed the procurement process that incorporates sustainability factors. Ratings were based on total possible 100 points awarded with 10 points for sustainability factors and 90 points for pricing. The evaluation does not consider factors such as experience, qualifications, ability to perform the work, nor past performance. Maple Leaf has performed many projects for the city in the past, and their quality of work and communication have always been excellent. Maple Leaf Construction's schedule anticipates a start date of June 15th of 2024. However, it will take some time after the award to obtain the performance bond and finalize the contract. The 2024 pavement contract includes the following work: reconstruction of the bulk water dispense pad on River Road, reconstruction of the Crescent Road from Tupper to 4th Street Southwest, reconstruction of 10th Street Southwest from Crescent Road to Saskatchewan Avenue, and Malco Drive asphalt path from Tyler Place to Crescent View School. Overlay program. The 2024 overlay program budget is $650,000. An additional $13,000 from utility will cover the cost of the bulk water dispenser pad. With the lowest contract tender price of $664,210 net of GST, our program is $1,210 over budget. This difference will be expected to be made up by finding some minor cost savings in the contract. So it is the administration recommendation, and I so move that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie award the 2024 pavement contract as specified in Tender 24 OPS 022 to Maple Leaf Construction Limited for the tender price of $664,210 net of GST.
Moved by Councillor Porter, seconded by Councillor Nichols. Any questions or comments, council. Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through Your Worship to administration, I'm just wondering if we can get some clarification on the sustainability factor portion of the procurement process.
Through Your Worship to Councillor Doyle, sustainability factors have been used by the city for at least 5 years. The goal of sustainability factors were to look over several factors outside of just pricing. So 90% of pricing, obviously pricing is very important, but 10 points are considered to a number of factors, including equitable hiring practices, environmental sustainability, and reinvestment into the community they work in. So there's 8 questions that are basically rate. They're filled out by the bidder. When they're reviewed by administration, they're scored from 1 being the lowest, 3 being the highest on each one of those categories. The points are added up between the 2 bidders, and then that's factored into that 10-point scale, and then 90% of the consideration is price.
Perfect, thank you.
Councillor Espy.
Thank you, Your Worship. Is it possible to know how these two companies stacked up against each other in the sustainability factors alone? And can I have the price difference between these two bids pre-GST?
I can't get you that, but I'm sure Mr. Pito.
Through Your Worship to Councillor Espy, if you give me a moment, I can determine that. And
okay. Yep.
Your Worship, while that's happening, I will just say that we were in a similar situation a few years ago, and the council at that time decided to give the contract to the second lowest bidder based on sustainability factors. And that was to Messington Construction. Against the administrative recommendation, the council did that. And it was a margin that was very similar to this one. And I will not be supporting the administrative recommendation this time around either.
Yeah, I'll comment on that because I was around the table too at the same time. And I remember that being a very difficult decision to go against the administrative recommendation because of that. And then after that decision, we as a council had administration and our management team look at the sustainability factors to change them so that we weren't put in that position again. Because as we know, if we choose to go against when it comes to pricing especially and what the top bidder is that it puts us at a risk to be that if we weren't to go with the administrative recommendation and our highest bid, then it puts us at a risk that losing business could take legal action against us for doing that. And so I was glad that administration went and made some changes to those factors because I didn't want to be put in that position again. And therefore, I know this is so close, but I'm one that has to trust the process of what we put in there since then. So. Councillor Espy.
Just for clarification, the sustainability factors were altered after that vote?
Yes, that's when we added the 3-point system, or the level system. That was after that vote.
Right. I guess I just need some clarification because before it was a yes or a no.
Yeah.
But these ones are on a score of 1 to 3. I would like to know the difference because Messington Construction obviously is a local business that supports a lot of things. Is it on a curve? Is one of them a 3 and then the other one cannot be a 3, or can they just all score the same across the board?
I can answer your questions on that, Councillor Espy. I'm sorry, through Your Worship to Councillor Espy. So I'm looking at the bid scoring on sustainability factors, and each of them, sorry, I apologize. I said 3-point scale, it's a 4-point scale. My apologies. So I'm looking at the scoring between these two companies. So you have, when you review a tender, you have at least two staff view the bids independently, and they score independently, and then you use an average between the scores of those two staff members. So they compare their scores after. Just because one company gets a 4 in a category does not mean that the other company cannot get a 4 in the category. So it can be a scale from 1 to 4 in each category, and there's 8 questions in which they're rated on. I can give you the average score overall out of 10 points that was scored by each company. I haven't actually calculated the net GST cost yet. So to answer your previous question, Maple Leaf received 7.81 out of 10 on sustainability factors, and Messington Construction received an average 8.44 on sustainability factors. I know, Councillor Espy, you're referencing local impact, which is a significant portion of the sustainability factors, but out of the questions, I think 2 or 3 are really related to local impact and investment, where the remaining questions talk about environmental impact. They also talk about equitable hiring practices and training and development investment.
Councillor Doyle.
So just for clarification, Messington scored higher on the sustainability factors. So the administrative recommendation boils down to the price, essentially, which is the factor that's making up the difference.
Through your worship to Councillor Doyle, so you're correct. So Maple Leaf had the better price. Messington did better on sustainability factors. When those factors are melded together, it's obviously very, very close. Within less than half a point, it comes out in favor of Maple Leaf Construction. As per our policy, that's the recommendation from administration.
Okay, thank you.
One other concern that I had after we made that decision back in 2021, right? Is that when it was, 2021? I believe, is that we didn't see another bid for the next few years on this project. And that type of thing frightens me too, that if we sort of go again, it's so tough when it's this close. I get that, but what frightens me is that we'll stop seeing multiple bids on our work, right? And then are we getting ourselves out of competitive pricing again too? It's, yeah. Councillor Meyer.
While City Manager Pito is figuring out those numbers, I just wanted to comment as well on it. I too was part of that decision-making process back in 2021. I can't remember the exact date of what it was, and I too voted in favor of going against the administration recommendation. At that point in time, I was also part of the process where we redesigned our sustainability factors, not to favor Portage la Prairie people as much, but to favor the impact that this company would actually have within the city of Portage la Prairie. I feel we've done our diligence. I do understand that there is some subjectivity to these questions, but I still look at it from an objective perspective. Sitting in this chair, it's tough for me not to go against the administrative recommendation. One is that, again, it doesn't put us at any risk. And I know it's a minor risk, but there's still a risk that is associated with this council when you talk about public dollars. I do have the concern that same thing, we had not had any competitive bids for 3 years on that. So whether that was a factor, I don't know, but I got to take that into consideration as well. And as much as it pains me, because I do believe Maple Leaf has certainly done a ton of work within our city and has performed well. I understand Messington Construction is a local company, and I'm very strong local, but when I look at this, especially when you're talking about public dollars, whether it's 5,000 or 100,000, now that we've gone through that process a couple of times in regards to create the sustainability factors, which could be the deciding point, I have to go with the administrative recommendation in this case, and I certainly echo the mayor's thoughts. So I will be supporting the administrative recommendation at this time, as much as it hurts. Maybe not hurts, that's the wrong choice of words. I don't want to disrespect Maple Leaf. They're a great company, but I will be going with the administrative recommendation.
Thank you. Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Worship. I'll be supporting the administrative recommendation. I think we have the mayor and 2 councillors on the previous council that rejigged the whole process, and this is following that process that they implemented. I saw a lot of this when I worked at the Association of Manitoba Municipalities, and I can tell you that this is one of the most difficult issues for councils. But if you don't go with the price and the best bang for our taxpayers' dollar, there's all kinds of problems you're going to get into. And I spent a lot of my time meeting with the Auditor General, the Ombudsman, dealing with having to explain why councils did what they did. So I think in reading this, Councillor Meyer's right. I think there is some subjectivity. But we have professional staff that are doing this for us on many other tenders. And I think this is one that I think is close. We always want to support local, but as a councillor, it's my due diligence to support the best price and the best bang for our taxpayers. And as finance chair, that's what I also support. So I'll be supporting the recommendation.
Thank you. Mr. Pito.
Through your worship to Councillor Espy, I do have an answer on the net GST price difference. It's $6,785.80.
Any questions or comments more? Councillor Doyle?
Thank you, Your Worship. Sorry, Mr. Pito, can you clarify that number you just gave?
So the through your worship to Councillor Doyle, the pricing here is GST inclusive between Maple Leaf and Messington on the report. I believe Councillor Espy asked for net of GST because municipalities do not pay GST or rebated the GST. So the number was $6,785.80 is the difference net of GST between the two bids.
Thank you.
Nothing else? All those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, one last item of new business. We have the first reading of vacant and derelict building bylaw 24-8761. Public Safety Committee, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. The issue at hand today is to approve or deny the implement of a new vacant and derelict building bylaw number 24-8761 for the city of Portage la Prairie. So this bylaw was created to address the issues with the owners of boarded and derelict properties that pose several social, health, and financial risks to our communities and decrease the value of their surrounding properties in the neighborhood. This bylaw provides the city of Portage la Prairie with legal recourse to enforce and collect fees associated with ensuring the safety and compliance of buildings within our city. The bylaw proposes timelines, registration requirements, and maintenance standards which adhere to Part 7, Division 2, Sections 231, 232, and 233 of the Municipal Act, RSM 1996, M225. To pass a bylaw concerning the condition and maintenance of vacant residential and commercial buildings. So it is the administrative recommendation, and I would move that the city of Portage la Prairie approve the vacant and derelict building bylaw 24-8761 by giving it this first reading.
Moved by Councillor Doyle, seconded by Councillor Massey. Any questions or comments on this? Councillor Doyle?
I just think that the implementation of this new bylaw is definitely a step in the right direction, especially when it comes to our strategic plan as a city to just to clean up our city, part of the beautification process, but as well as the health and safety, because these vacant and derelict buildings can definitely create major social and health issues. So I think this is a very good thing moving forward.
Thank you. Agreed. Councillor Porter.
I echo Councillor Doyle's comments, and I will be in favor, and I'll be supporting this as well.
Thank you. Councillor Espy.
Thank you, Your Worship. I will just say that this is a long time coming. I'm definitely in support, and this is a great thing for neighborhoods who have been waiting a long time to see some stuff get cleaned up.
Agreed. Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to make a couple of comments as the seconder to the motion. Thank Councillor Doyle for bringing this forward. This is great. This is going to make, as you say, part of our strat plan, our community safer and better neighborhoods. If you live by these places, your value of your property goes down. There's crime. This is going to help address this. We've got an escalating fee penalties. It's going to entice people to deal with this now, and I'm really pleased administration's brought this forward, and we're going to have a bylaw that these properties is going to make a better community for our residents, and I'm very pleased to support this.
Thank you. Councillor Meyer?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to make it unanimous that I feel, again, well done, long overdue. I think the city does need to have certain tools that they can use that have some teeth in order to correct maybe or fix some of the problems that are here. If there's landlords that may not take the same initiative, it's our community, and I think we're charged with the responsibility to make it as safe and as prosperous as possible. So for that reason, and echoing everybody else's comments around the table, I will certainly support the motion.
Thank you. Councillor Nichols?
And just to have a final little comment on this, I think this is a terrific recommendation, and it's going to support going forward in terms of these derelict buildings. I was absolutely looking forward to the first reading, and I'll be looking forward to the rest. That reason I'll be supporting this motion.
Thank you. I can tell you in my 6 years around council, and since citizens of Portage la Prairie have access to my email and my phone number, derelict properties has probably been the #1 thing that I get called on. And it's because it is hard on neighbors, right? To have properties that are either look awful, that are causing public safety concerns. And so I agree. I think Councillor Meyer, I don't know who said it, somebody said we need the tools. And this is a tool that we as a municipality can have to just move forward on some of these properties. So I'm excited for this to have first reading and second and third coming up. So thank you. All those in favor? And that is carried. Excellent. We have no items of old business. We'll adjourn council at 6:46 p.m. I'm going to move right into committee. Call committee to order at 6:46 p.m. Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee, Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Worship. Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee has no report for committee this evening.
Thank you. City Planning and Economic Development Committee, Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. City Planning and Economic Development Committee has nothing to report.
Thank you. Community Services Committee, Councillor Espy.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through Your Worship, I'd like to call upon Councillor Massey to give us a report on the library.
Thank you, Councillor Espy and colleagues. I just want to make you aware of it's the 20th anniversary of our regional library. Isn't that great? So they're celebrating on June 7th. That's starting at 4 o'clock. I understand some of us, of course, will be at FCM, unfortunately, and others have commitments, but I understand Deputy Mayor Porter will be speaking at that. It's great. Also on the Heritage Committee, it's a good fit for the library, but it's a great celebration, and those of you who've gotten the reports from the library see the big changes happening there, and I think hopefully the public of Portage la Prairie comes out. It's their building, it's their space, so I'm just pleased to say that June 7th at 4 o'clock there'll be an anniversary, 20th anniversary celebration at the library. So, for your information.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Your Worship. And I understand we have some information to talk about on Bike Week.
We sure do. Bike Week started. Did you know that it's Bike Week right now? There is events happening all week, mostly there's a special committee that does Bike Week through the Portage Active Transportation Committee. They have events such as Grub Haul. On Wednesday is the cookie ride. There's an early sunrise sort of bike and session. They had yoga in the park yesterday. There's a lot that you can see. You can find all that information on the Active Transportation site, Facebook, and also on the community events or on the Portage Community Revitalization page. Or just reach out. We'll give you all the information you want. So happy Bike Week. Thank you.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor Espy. Waterworks Committee, Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Your Worship. Waterworks Committee has nothing to report in committee at this time.
Thank you. Transportation Committee, Councillor Porter.
Thank you, for your worship. I'd like to call upon Robert Poole, manager of the Portage la Prairie landfill, to present his 2023 annual report.
Thank you. If you could just state your name into the mic for the record, please.
It's Robert Pohl. I'm the manager at the landfill.
I'm Kaylee Peterson. I'm a landfill operator.
Thank you. You can move this anyway to make it easier for you too. There you go.
Okay, thanks for the opportunity to present what is happening at the landfill. I will say this, that the City Council has been great supporters of the landfill. We have a couple chairs sitting at the table, landfill chairs sitting at the table today, and the councilors have always been very supportive of the landfill, and we appreciate that. Let's see. Do I scroll it or? Okay. I'll just go through a quick introduction. We'll have the 2023 year-end report, the waste categories by ton and percentage of total, waste tonnage trends, and groundwater and landfill gas reports. So this annual report covers all of last year in accordance to our Environmental Act License 378. And the Portage la Prairie landfill operates a Class 1 disposal grounds. Operations and monitoring, the landfill continues to make improvements to the operation. One of the big things we'll be doing this year is implementing phase 1 and 2 of our leachate management plan, which will make the disposal of, there has been some deficiencies. There was some waste that was put in the past outside of the active cells, and this will allow us to start the remediation process. So tender went out this year, and it's been awarded for $92,000 to have that implemented this year. One thing the landfill always tries to do is divert as much waste as possible. And 75,000 tons of product was diverted to licensed recycling locations such as metal, tires, ag plastic, mattresses, and Freon containing appliances. There was, last year, there was no fires at the landfill, which is a good thing. And some of the procedures that we put in place have helped to mitigate that issue. And it's something that in our magazine, last copy of the guide, we emphasized trying to put the proper or deal with hazardous waste properly. And that makes it safer for everybody that comes to the landfill and works at the landfill. So last year, the landfill invested in equipment and in training of our staff and infrastructure that has kept us in a very good condition. Our customers often compliment the staff on the condition of the roads and how clean the site is kept. So that is a testament to the staff that works there, and we're often complimented on it. The landfill receives 16,000 tons of waste last year. We received 41,000 tons of lime sludge from the city, which we use for clean cover, and 13,000 tons of septic waste. The landfill paid $159,000 in levies for recycling programs, and that's something that I pointed out to the RM board and want to point out to the city, because that money is for programs within our community, and we want to make sure that we're getting our portion of that from the city perspective. The board didn't record any complaints, and the board approved a $10 per ton increase on most waste categories, and we are no longer going to charge for Freon-containing appliances. The landfill operation attributes its success to the landfill staff and the training they have received through the SWANA program, and also the administration help that we receive from the city and the RM. It's greatly appreciated. So this is just a breakdown of the waste categories. As you can see in the brown, outside of RM, we receive all of the waste from Woodlands RM. That makes up 9% of the waste we receive. The city, about 22%, the RM, about 12%. Construction material is about 13%, and commercial is about 44%. So the construction and commercial, you could probably 2/3 of that, if you go by population, is coming from the city. So the city definitely disposes of a lot of waste at our site. So here are the trends. As you can see, in 2019, we had a large contract where we buried material for McCain's. Again in 2020 and 21, and it leveled off about 16,000 tons that we receive a year. So I'm not going to go into the groundwater testing, the specifics, other than about 3 or 4 years ago, some of the categories, the heavy metals and so on, were above standards that we want, and this has led to the leachate management plan and getting some of these things under control so that clean water is being released from the landfill, not contaminated and not contaminating our wells further. Last year, for the first time, we had our landfill gas measured and recorded. And so that is actually a requirement going forward. And the waste we have in place is actually over, there's new thresholds coming in place. And like 5 years ago, we would have said that we would never have landfill gas equipment to burn off the landfill gas. There's a good chance we are above the threshold with the waste we have in place. And if we have to implement that, the number that I've been given would be about $4 million to implement landfill gas to safely dispose of it. So some of the things we can do to mitigate landfill gas are to keep organics out of the waste that comes to the landfill, And so these are some of the things I wanted to bring to the city's attention because it is something that is more and more people, it's doing the right thing, I guess, is the bottom line. Sorry, it's gone into the, how do I exit this? I'd like to go to the magazine page. Right here. So, like I said, the opportunity to communicate with the community about what happens at the landfill, to before you leave home, to divert as much waste as possible, keep hazardous materials out of the waste, and make sure there's Portage and District Recycling is set up to receive all those hazardous waste, but a lot of them still end up in the waste stream, and they become hazards for the people that work there and create fires, and they create this leachate and contamination that costs a lot of money to fix. So the picture here just shows that customers are asked to dispose of the waste between the orange metal gates and in an open area from any prior loads. And what always happens is one load is dumped and then other loads are dumped in front of that instead of backing up and keeping it clean and safe for everybody. Less flat tires and so on. But the only other thing, and one thing that we talk about all the time, is safety. Landfill is in the 5th most dangerous occupation in North America, and our goal is to keep everybody safe. A lot of the times it's not just the staff, but the people that are coming there that are injured. And so we have in the Portage magazine some ideas of how we can keep people more safe when they're disposing of their waste, because it is a dangerous occupation. So thanks for your time. And any questions?
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
I
Councillor
have
Porter?
one question here. You say that well, I think it was one of the 6 most dangerous occupations, or 5th most dangerous. There's 2 things: one according to the U.S. and one according to North America. What do you find in your landfill consistently that could be diverted?
From SWANA stats, one of the things is batteries. Improperly disposed of lithium-ion batteries create, when those are with waste, it creates sparks and it creates fires. So that is definitely something that could be handled better. A lot of times, as I said, the hazardous waste is just throwing in the waste, and when you run over hazardous waste with heavy equipment, and if there is a fire, some of these aerosol cans become missiles that I've fought a fire out there, and it's not fun. It becomes very dangerous. And if some of this could be kept out of the waste, it would make it safer for everybody.
Thank you for that. And I do have another question for you. Do you and your staff, do you have any courses that you take on identifying things while you're at the landfill, or to what to look for? Or is that something that that it's a guess thing, or do you actually take some kind of course? Or
we have an emergency response plan that reflects on all, like if there's a fire, what our procedures are. I was happy to review that with our Director of Public Safety and make sure that we were handling everything. SWANA, through the landfill operator course, emphasizes safety, which Kaylee and all of our staff has taken. We also have them take the WEMIS, which is handling of dangerous goods course, and safety courses to give them the tools they need to keep themselves and everybody else safe.
how far is the closest, say, response, like in time-wise, to get to you out there to help you out?
How long is it?
Yeah, how long?
Well,
would it be the closest Portage?
We're about 33 kilometers out, so it does take time. The last major fire we had, we left at 6, and by 6:45, the landfill was on fire, and we probably started fighting it about 7:30, because I came from Oakville and Jamie came from Portage, and we decided that we could contain the fire and didn't need the help of the Portage Fire Department. But we also learned in reviewing it that we should have notified the fire department that we were containing it, trying to contain it, just in case we weren't able to contain it. So that was a good learning.
Thank you very much. And I just want to thank you guys for all the work, and girls, for all the work that you do out there. And because you do a great job. And yes, you are noted. A lot of people have said what a nice, you run a very good business out there. And it's clean. And it's probably one of the most cleanest landfills that they've seen around in a long time, or in the province. So I thank you for that. And I thank you for your very detailed report, because I saw the whole report and it's quite lengthy. So if anybody's interested in reading it, it's quite interesting. So, and thanks for coming tonight.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Anyone else have questions? Councillor Meyer?
Thank you, Your Worship. And no, it's not just a question, just a comment. I just also want to just kind of recognize that this, again, is probably a real testament to, it's a regional landfill, so I think it goes to show the strength of our RM-city relationships and how important that is to us. I've been fortunate enough to be on the landfill board for, I think, the last 6 years, and from a guy that thinks lettuce grows on the shelves at Sobeys and magical garbage bag at the end of the block and it just disappears into nowhere land. I've learned more about landfill in the last 6 years than I could ever imagine, right? And it's amazing, actually, the processes and the things that they do out there. I'm not quite sure if it's on my tour schedule, but if anybody had the chance to get out there, I do want to just point out a couple of real quick things. One is that in order and respect for our RRM, as you go out there, please tarp your loads, just as a reminder. It is a $60 fee. They will charge you right at that point in time, and it just really saves anything from flying off the things, obviously, into the ditch, and I do know your report states that. I just want to add two real quick things, not to belabor it, but we are so fortunate to be able to have a land or a grass recycle place within the city limits, and then also a tree recycling place just outside the city limits. I use them both probably on a regular basis, and it just really disheartens me when I see go there and I see a couch and I see a Chesterfield and I see a fridge, or I see other stuff that's dumped off at those areas. I think we're so fortunate to be able to have that, and that I just trust that, and then certainly it's a small majority, I get that, but that people respect those areas. We have the landfill, 33 kilometers. It's just a nice date night with my wife because she likes to go out there and look. But it's only 33 kilometers away. Dispose of it properly, and let's protect the 2 areas that we have within our community, whether it be the grass recycling place. It really is date night, honestly. And also the tree recycle place. It's just, please don't dump your garbage out there, and of course, certainly tarp your loads. And thank you so much. Good job, Robert.
Thank you. Councillor Asham will be very pleased that you told everybody to tarp their loads, Councillor Meyer. So just so everybody's aware, Councillor Porter, Councillor Espy, and Councillor Meyer are currently on the landfill board. You guys have a great team out at the landfill. I'm like Councillor Meyer. I could tell you 6 years ago, I didn't even know what a leachate was, and now I take real thought in our leachate problem. So thank you for that, and excited to see new team members out there and doing training and you've got a great mentor out there to teach you all about the landfill. So, and thanks for coming tonight too as well, Ms. Peterson. Appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Paul.
Okay, thank you very much.
Public Safety Committee, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. Council, you were emailed a copy of what I am about to show you for the big unveiling. Everyone else at the table received a paper copy tonight, but this is a draft of our Community Safety Officer information brochure. So it was a team effort by our city administration to put this together. So I'm going to start at the back and work my way in here. We have different provincial and local community resources, contact information, phone numbers, emails for certain organizations if you're in a situation where you do need some help outside of law enforcement. The inside page tells a little bit about our CSOs and the program. And if you open it right up, it tells you when to call a CSO, when to call the RCMP, and when to call by law enforcement. So these will be in the mail, should be in the mail by the end of the week. So you should be receiving them early next week. Stick it on your fridge, stick it on your wall. This is a great piece of information as to who to call for each situation that you might come across. So great job on the administration staff for putting that together. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Doyle. I could see some eye contact here, so I feel that there's an update from their administration team.
Thank you, Your Worship, to Councillor Doyle. So it's the intention for those pamphlets to be handed out downtown to all the businesses so they're familiar with the powers under the CSO program and when to call RCMP, when to call bylaw. We'll also have those at City Hall and electronic copies available to the public, but it's not the intention to mail it to every resident, although we are including our that description in our magazine. So in our magazine, I'll talk about the CSO program and give all the information in that pamphlet out to everyone as well. So not the actual pamphlet, but they look out for your magazine and it'll have that information there as well.
Thank you for the correction. I would also just like to say that every time that I am driving through the city, especially on the avenue, I've seen the vehicle everywhere. Every time I'm out, I see the vehicle or I see the CSOs themselves out on the street. And it is a very welcome sight. And just a big shout out to Mr. Pito, our manager of administration, but more importantly, our fire chief and director of public safety, Brad Bailey, for helping helping to get this program off the ground a little bit ahead of schedule from what we first thought. So great work on that. And that is the end of my report.
Thank you. If nothing else, we'll adjourn committee at 7:13 p.m. Thanks for coming out, everyone.